Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and today we're going to talk about some cards that I keep getting comments and questions about in the comment section. Some very interesting green additions that could go into Simic Merfolk. Should they go into Simic Merfolk? Well, let's find out. Just a disclaimer, I haven't played with any of these cards at all. I'm just going to give my most logical opinion. Do they have a place in modern Merfolk? So we're going to start off with Shaper's Sanctuary. It's 1 green. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Wonderful green enchantment. It's great because against a lot of the removal heavy decks, they're not going to have enchantment destruction. The best thing I can think of is that the black-green decks will have Abrupt Decay. But aside from that, like, that thing's going to sit on the board. Not only that, it is perfect on the curve. That is a wonderful mana cost. 1 green, beautiful. You play this on turn 1, and then on the subsequent turns you play your creatures, and if they die, for whatever reason, even to planeswalker abilities, because it's whenever they become the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you're going to draw the card. You're going to draw the card even if it doesn't die, which is important. So, you know, against blue-white control, if they want to Gideon your creature so that it can't attack anymore. I mean, I don't know if this is the best place for it, but hey, you're going to draw the card off of it. So, not to mention, even if you fled out on them, I don't know how many of this particular card you want to play. If you have too many, they will stack. So if you have 2 in play and someone tries to kill your creature, you're going to get 2 cards out of the exchange. So I think this is very aggressively costed. I think it's going to do very well against the removal heavy decks. I don't know how mandatory it is in the sideboard, but I think it's going to do exactly what it's intended to do, and I think it will give a lot of the removal heavy decks. We're talking like any of the black-green X, you know, any of the Death Shadow variants. It's going to have a really good effect. It's going to completely even the battlefield, and all their removal spells sort of turn into tempo spells, you know, because they're going to kill the creature, you're going to draw something out of it, you're going to have to pay mana to recast your creatures, but I think that's something that we are willing to deal with if we can keep drawing gas every single time they remove our stuff from the board. So moving forward, we've got Chameleon Colossus. Like, the first time someone proposed this card to me, I thought they were just joking. But then when the next few people started proposing this card, what is going on here? And it turns out it made the top 8 of one of the SCG lists. With Simic Merfolk. It's actually seen in like Elves sideboards. It's a pretty reasonable card. But I mean, green, 2 colorless. It's a shapeshifter. I mean, it's a changeling, which means it's also a Merfolk. It has protection from black, and it has this awkward ability. Green, 2 colorless. Chameleon Colossus gets +X until end of turn, where X is its power. So, I mean, in theory, this thing could get pretty big. It's a 4/4 by itself, so you're at least going to make it an 8/8. But it can get pumped up by our lords, and that's the point of this card. It can get bigger. What's the most important part of this card is that it has protection from black. It also has protection from Inquisition of Kozilek. You can't take it from our hand. And but it has protection from black, so like no Fatal Push. Has protection from Abrupt Decay, even though it's at 4 mana. The most important thing is Fatal Push. Liliana the Last Hope can't target it at all, so you're not going to slow it down. Blocks Death Shadows all day. Might even kill a Death Shadow after we activate its ability. But because it's a changeling, we can cast off Cavernous Souls, but still it feels a bit clunky for a 4 mana. Like, when we played Master of Waves, at least it could, like, hold its own against a huge board. This is just one big dumb creature. That's all I'm seeing here. Probably it will be very good against Death Shadow decks, but why not just play Shaper's Sanctuary or something like that? I don't know if I want to put this like giant dummy in the sideboard, and like, you still need to have the green. If you don't have it, it's not going to get cast with just Mutavaults and Islands. So that looks like a problem. So it looks very clunky, and it looks like I might be ready to die even if I get this thing in play, because it could possibly be too late. But I'm certain that if we do get it in play, it's going to have a big impact. We don't have to main deck it. We can put it in the sideboard, just bring it in against the decks we know we need it against. But still, not impressive looking to me. Mind you, I haven't played with this card, but I'm very skeptical about a 4-mana spell just for one big dumb creature. There's tons of those in Magic. Why aren't we playing Thrun or something? Protection from basically all the colors, and we can regenerate it a million times. Why this guy? Why don't we play Thrun, even though he doesn't get, like, turned on by our lords? So I'm not a believer in this card. Just looks too expensive for just a green creature. And then lastly, we've got Lead the Stampede, 1 green, 2 colorless, sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, isn't this just a really bad Collected Company? For example, this card only goes 5 cards deep. Collected Company goes 6. Not only that, this card costs 1 less mana, but I think the mana cost is a little deceptive. It costs 1 less mana, but in the long run, it's going to cost so much more mana because you're going to pay the 3, you're going to get the cards, but then you have to hard cast those cards, and that costs mana as well. Collected Company lets you just put them in play. You're going to get less creatures on average anyway. Like if you're scared of getting only 1 creature with Collected Company, you're going to on average get less creatures with Lead the Stampede anyway, because you're looking 1 card less than the Collected Company card. So you have to tap out for this. This is how I would play Lead the Stampede though. Like if we went turn 1 Curse Catcher, turn 2 Lord of Atlantis, and we have a lot of gas in hand, I would never play Lead the Stampede on turn 3. I would play all my other creatures out, and then I would wait until my hand is empty and then refill my hand with Lead the Stampede. But if Lead the Stampede is the last thing I'm playing, then I'm probably going to have about 4 mana in play by that point, and that's where Collected Company would just be a better card to play in the spot. Collected Company is more mana efficient because it's only going to cost 4 mana, and the creatures will come into play basically for free. On average, I think we're just going to hit about 2 creatures anyway with Lead the Stampede, and the same thing is going to happen with Collected Company, and they go directly in play at flash speed. So I think if you match the cards up, Collected Company is just going to be a much better version than this card. This card is seen play in Elves, but that's only because they already max out on 4 Collected Company. So I'm gonna say boo to Lead the Stampede. Probably only has synergy with like Aether Vial, because if you have Aether Vial out, you can Lead the Stampede, get creatures, and put them in play immediately with your Aether Vial. But I would be willing to wait 2 more turns to get the land so I can play Collected Company. Either I'm playing Collected Company or I'm playing creatures anyway. I think that's where we want to be. So, what do you think about any of these cards? Are there any cards you're curious about? Like, do these things have a chance in Modern Merfolk? Because we're in an experimental stage. We should be experimenting anyway. There's a lot of new possibilities that could come out of Simic Merfolk. It's opened a whole new color in the color pie, so why shouldn't it? So this has been Nikachu talking about some of the new potential additions to Simic Merfolk.